Hey everyone, it's Sam from the Credit Frog, and today I'm going to be revealing my entire credit card portfolio. This is a video that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I was inspired to do so by other similar videos by fantastic credit card creators like Mark Reese and Mark Plymail. To me, credit cards are such an interesting topic to talk about because I think it really tells a great story about yourself and your own preferences. So things like, do you value cash back? Do you value points for first-class travel? Do you value both? Do you mind spending money on an annual fee? How many credit cards do you think you'll need to achieve your goals? The list goes on and on and on. And the beauty of this is that there really is no right answer to any of these questions. It's all just personal preference. So today, I'm going to be revealing my entire credit card portfolio consisting of 7 personal cards, 4 business cards, and 3 charge cards, with a combined credit limit totaling about $275,000. And here's how we're going to go about doing this. I'll explain each of my credit cards grouped by decade, starting with personal cards, then business cards, and finally, charge cards. I'll go over the basic info of each card, how long it's been open, how I use this card now, and the card's credit limit. We'll then finish off with an overview of my portfolio as a whole. This is going to be a longer video, so go grab some popcorn, get comfortable, and of course, make sure to hit that like button to let me know you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel down below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our weekly content. And with that being said, let's jump right in. The first set of cards that I have are what I consider to be my starter cards. These 2 cards have been with me since college, and since they have so much history, I'm going to keep these cards forever. The first card on this list, which is my very first card, is the American Express Blue Cash Everyday card. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that this card has been product changed many times, with its longest stint being the American Express Blue Cash Preferred card for about 14 years. But now, it exists as the Blue Cash Everyday card since I recently product changed to this card after its refresh in July 2022. This is my oldest card with 17 years of history, and this card has no annual fee. The multipliers on this card are 3% back on groceries, 3% back on US online retail purchases, 3% back on gas, and 1% back on everything else, up to $6,000 in purchases each year for each individual category. I have a monthly recurring charge on this card just to make sure it doesn't get closed due to inactivity, and the credit limit on this card is $35,000. Next up, we have the Bank of America Customized Cash Card. This is my second oldest card with about 15 years of history, and this card also has no annual fee. The multipliers on this card are 3% cash back in the category of your choice, including gas, online shopping, dining, travel, drugstores, or home improvement/furnishing stores, 2% cash back at grocery stores and wholesale clubs, and 1% on all other purchases. The 3% and 2% categories grouped together are capped at $2,500 per year. This card is still used as a core card in my wallet today, and the way I use this card is for gas purchases, which is the preferred 3% category for this card. I also use this card exclusively at Costco, which counts towards the 2% wholesale club category. And as a Platinum Honors tier member, I get that 75% multiplier boost, netting me 5.25% back on gas and 3.5% back on Costco purchases. The credit limit for this card is $40,000. So for 2011 through 2020, I call this era in my credit card life as the longest garden ever. Just in case you're unfamiliar, credit card gardening is when you hold off on any new credit card applications so you can let your average age of accounts mature for credit score reasons or to get under Chase's 524 rule. In this whole decade, I applied for just 3 credit cards. And some of you may ask, why? Well, I don't really have a good answer for you other than I didn't really know any better, but what I did do during this whole period was to also ask for multiple manual credit limit increases on all my existing cards over this decade, which you're going to see was actually a really good move. The first card that I applied for in this decade was my first travel card, and that was the Virgin America Visa by Barclays Bank. Some of you may remember this airline, which was well known for their very classy interior purple lighting, comfortable leather seats with seat-back entertainment, and of course their very popular and catchy in-flight safety video. I'll leave a link down in the description below to their airline safety video, which in my opinion is a complete masterpiece of music and entertainment, so definitely check that out. Sadly, Virgin America was eventually bought out, so this card was product changed to its bank bread and card equivalent, the Barclays Card Arrival World MasterCard, which is no longer available to apply for new applicants. But don't worry, this card isn't great, so you're not really missing out. This card offers 2 miles per dollar on dining and travel, and 1 mile per dollar spent on everything else. For redemption, the only available method would be as a statement credit against an existing travel purchase, and when you redeem your miles, you would get 5% miles back, so ultimately a total redemption value of 1.05%. I think back when I got this card, this 1.05% reward was slightly better than the industry standard 1% cashback, but now you know that we can definitely do better than that. This card also has no foreign transaction fees, which is great because this card also has no annual fee. Since this card is also one of my oldest cards at around 12 years old, I still keep this card around by putting a monthly charge on it, so this card won't be closed for inactivity. The credit limit on this card is $25,000. Since Virgin America was bought out, I wanted to get another airline card to help build loyalty, and for me, that card was the Chase United Explorer card. This card has about 6 years of history and offers 2 miles per dollar on United purchases, dining, and hotel, and 1 mile for everything else. So as you all may know, I'm a huge Southwest flyer, but about 6 years ago, I lived on the East Coast, specifically in Boston, Massachusetts, and my home was in Southern California, so I was making a lot of trans-US flights, and United was my preferred airline. So I really took advantage of the ancillary United benefits of this card, including a free first check bag, priority boarding, and as well as 2 United Club passes that I could use per year, all for an annual fee of $95. I still fly United about once a year, so this card still brings me value, but for the most part, I just link a monthly charge to this card so it doesn't get closed due to inactivity. The credit limit on this card is $40,000. Towards the end of this decade, I also wanted to have a hotel card to pair with my airline card, and for me that card was a Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. But I quickly realized after opening this card that now my spend was split into United miles and Marriott Bonvoy points, which really wasn't that efficient since I wasn't really a big spender to begin with. So shortly after that, I downgraded this card into the Marriott Bonvoy Bold card, which was about 4 years ago. This card earns 14x points at Marriott, 2x points on travel and transit, and 1x points on everything else. Since I no longer use this card regularly, as usual, I've linked a monthly charge to this card so it doesn't get closed due to inactivity. The credit limit on this card is $38,500. And now we finally get to the past year and a half or so, and this is when I really started to put the pedal to the metal on building up my credit card portfolio and establishing my primary credit card setup as it exists today. I finally decided to pull the trigger on the American Express cards that I've always wanted, including the American Express Platinum card and the American Express Gold card, but more on that later. Let's start with the personal credit cards first, then business cards, and then finally my American Express charge cards. The next personal credit card that I got was the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card. I got this card in March 2022, and the card has a $550 annual fee and offers 2x points back on travel and dining and 1.5x points back on everything else. And of course, with the Platinum Honors Tier multiplier, 75% bonus, these multipliers are boosted to 3.5x points back and 2.625 back, respectively. This card is one of my core cards in my wallet today, mainly for the travel category, which includes transit as well as my everything else category. This card also doubles as a backup Visa card for the dining multiplier in situations where my American Express Gold card is not accepted. The credit limit on this card is $40,000. My most recent card, of course, is the American Express Delta Reserve card, specifically the 747 edition. I got this card in June 2022, and this card also has a $550 annual fee. The multipliers are 3x on Delta purchases and 1x points back on everything else. I actually don't fly Delta at all, and I don't plan on using any of the benefits for this card. I simply got this card because I wanted to have the limited 747 edition as a collector's item. And as I've recently met the sign-up bonus of spending $5,000 in the first 3 months to earn 100,000 Delta miles, there really is no other reason for me to have this card, so this card is currently inactive. The credit limit on this card is $10,000. Okay, so now let's move into the business cards. The first card I'm going to cover is the American Express Blue Business Plus card, and I got this card right about a month after getting my American Express Platinum card and about 6 days after I got my American Express Gold card, completing my American Express trifecta. This card has no annual fee and has a simple multiplier of 2x membership rewards points for up to $50,000 in spend and then 1x points back. This card used to be a part of my primary setup, but has recently fallen out of favor as my catch-all card to the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card. I put a monthly charge on this card so it doesn't close due to inactivity, and the credit limit on this card is $25,000. The next card is the American Express Amazon Business Prime card. I opened this card earlier this year, and this card has no annual fee, although technically I do pay a fee to have Amazon Prime. This card earns 5% cash back at Amazon Business, Amazon Web Services, Amazon.com, and Whole Foods Market. It also gets 2% back at US restaurants, gas stations, and wireless phone services, as well as 1% back on everything else. My plan for this card is to have it as my primary card for this YouTube channel. I would say that almost all of the things that I've bought for this YouTube channel so far, including the cameras, microphone, lighting, and decor, have all come from Amazon, so this is going to be a great card for this channel moving forward. The credit limit on this card is $12,000. The next card is the Chase Ink Unlimited card, which I also got earlier this year and has no annual fee. This card offers unlimited 1.5% cash back earned in the form of ultimate rewards points for all purchases. I mainly use this card for any expenses for a rental property that I own, and so I put all of my charges for that business on this particular card. This card has a credit limit of $10,000. And finally, the last business card that I have is the Chase Ink Cash card, which I got over a year ago and also has no annual fee. This card offers 5% cash back on the first $25,000 spent in combined purchases at office supply stores and on internet, cable, and phone services, each account anniversary year, 2% cash back on the first $25,000 spent in combined purchases at gas stations and restaurants, each account anniversary year, and 1% cash back on all other purchases. And of course, these are earned in the form of ultimate rewards points. So for me, I use this card to pay my cable internet bill and any office supplies that I need to get to take advantage of that 5% multiplier in those categories. The credit limit on this card is $2,000. Next up are the charge cards, and I have 3 of them. The American Express Morgan Stanley Platinum card, the Classic Platinum card, and the Gold card. And as you know, there are no credit limits for these cards since they're classified as charge cards. Now, my main Platinum card is the American Express Morgan Stanley Platinum card, and I opened this card in April 2022. I'm such a fan of this card because if you can meet the requirements, you can actually qualify for a yearly $695 engagement bonus that can negate the annual fee for this card. I made a video series on how to qualify for this engagement bonus, so if you haven't checked out my series yet, I'll leave a link to that playlist up top here, so definitely check that out if you're interested. This is another card in my core setup, and I use this card for the 5x membership rewards points on airfare, as well as for many of the other benefits on this card, which I won't cover in this video, but maybe in a future video. I also have a Classic Platinum card that I got in April of 2021, and I still have this card open simply because I was offered a great retention bonus to keep it open for an extra year. So I am. Once I met the retention offer, this card is now essentially inactive because I already have another Platinum card, which is the Morgan Stanley Platinum, and at least for me, I don't find any value of having multiple Platinum cards unless you got one for the sign-up bonus or kept it for the retention offer. I will say, though, that I do double dip on some of the benefits of this card, including the $15 monthly Uber credit, the semi-annual $50 Saks credit, and the $200 FHR hotel credit. And lastly, I have the American Express Gold card, which I got in May 2021. This card has an annual fee of $250, but I take full advantage of the Uber and dining credits offered with this card, so it takes that effective annual fee down to $10. The multipliers are 4x points back on dining, 4x points back on groceries, 3x points back on flights booked directly with airlines or on AmexTravel.com, and 1x points back on other eligible purchases. And this card is the final card in my core setup, and my main daily driver since dining is one of my biggest expenses. I should probably get more groceries, to be honest, but that's a different topic for a different video. And so those are the 14 cards that I have with a total credit limit of about $275,000. Now let's take a look at my portfolio as a whole. So here's a slide visualizing all of my credit cards in one place. There are 3 personal charge cards, 4 business credit cards, and 7 personal credit cards. And here's an overlay of how I use each card. You can see that I have 4 primary cards that make up my core setup, and the remainder of the cards either have monthly purchases on them to avoid account closures, are inactive, or are used for a specific business purpose. Just a small side note, all of my cards have autopay active, so I know that I'll never miss a payment. Finally, here's an overlay of all my credit cards and their associated credit limits. I'll leave this graphic up here for a second, but I'm going to go into more detail about this in the next slide. And so here's a table that outlines my total credit limit by issuer and the amount of contribution from personal and business credit cards. You can see for American Express, I have $82,000 in total credit limit. For Barclays Bank, I have a total of $25,000. For Bank of America, I have $80,000. And for Chase Bank, I have $90,500. My total personal credit limit is $228,500, and my total business credit limit is $49,000, and adding these two numbers together, my total overall limit is $277,500. The one point I want to make from this table is that there's a guideline that's been going around the credit card community saying that $25,000 on one card or $35,000 in total credit limit with American Express will trigger a financial review. Although this may be a valid guideline, this is definitely a your mileage may vary scenario, as I've never received any sort of financial review from American Express despite being over both those numbers, both on an individual card as well as taking into account my total credit limit with American Express. I also realize that a lot of you are thinking at this point, why no Chase Sapphire Preferred? Don't you like that card? And to that I'll just say, I have enough cards to meet all the categories that I need, so the CSP just doesn't fit into my overall setup, but maybe in the future I'll decide to get this card. And that's the story of my total overall credit card portfolio. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching until the end. And so what do you think of my portfolio? Are there cards that you think you'd get rid of or add to my collection? Let me know in the comments below, and definitely check out these two videos here that I know you'll enjoy.